Welcome back to my channel. Today is January the 13th and I'm going to discuss with you guys have a little story time while I plan my plans for the week. I like to plan and decorate my planner, so join me as I plan and give you guys a background of when I first heard Chiari. Chiari malformation, or hindbrain herniation, is when the back of the brain, the cerebellum, pushes down through the bottom of the opening of the skull, the foramen magnum, which is only meant for the spinal cord to pass through. This can sometimes obstruct the flow of the cerebral spinal fluid through that opening, which leads to headaches and sometimes spinal cord injury. And the pain can radiate into the neck, shoulders, hands, and can be extremely debilitating. Here are a few tests to request through your neurologist or neurosurgeon or your PCP whenever you receive the diagnosis of Chiari malformation. I had a few of these done, not all of them. I did the full, number one, the brain and full spine MRI. I had a sleep study done. I had the neuro-ophthalmologist eval, and that was it. Here's a picture. If you could see, my right eye is much smaller than my left eye, and there was, at the time, no reaction to light. My pupil wouldn't get larger or dilate. So now, here I am starting to plan, but I'm going to discuss with you guys how this all came about and Chiari and I was introduced. I was at work one day typing. I had got into a little minor dispute or debate with someone, and I'm not sure if it was because my blood pressure had rose. I'm not sure what happened, but I was sitting there typing, and it was in the evening, and all of a sudden I heard like this pop go on in my head, and my vision immediately became blurry. I didn't know what was up with that, so I thought, I'm tired. It's time for me to get off of work and go home, because it was the evening time when this occurred. So I pack my things up and I drive and go home, and I just noticed over the course of days that my vision would never get back focused. Like my right eye just really started tripping. And one day I was driving on the road, and all of a sudden my eyesight went out in my right eye, like completely black, boom, nothing. And if you driving, you use your peripheral vision, you use, you just imagine, you stick your hand over your eye right now and see if you can function as you would if you had vision in both of your eyes. So anyway, I'm going on days and days like this, and then I noticed some minor headaches, not as severe as I've experienced, but minute. And I went to see the doctor, and the doctor referred me to see an ophthalmologist. I went to see a neuro-ophthalmologist. And when I went to that appointment, that doctor ended up noticing that my optic nerve was shutting down during the examination. So everything that I had been complaining about for the longest, it was like, we can't see nothing that's happening. But one doctor saw it slightly. But when I went in to see the neuro-ophthalmologist, it was quite evident that something wasn't right. So then that neuro-ophthalmologist had referred me to a neurologist and was saying that, he witnessed seeing the optic nerve shut down. So I went to a neurologist, and the neurologist at the time, I think Chiari was just getting popular, I could say. This was in 2009 when all of these things occurred. And during that time, I'm not sure, I don't want to defame anyone or make them look bad or whatever, but I feel that the doctor just didn't have enough education on Chiari. But I was told that I was having baby strokes in the eye, so I was prescribed the Topamax, and it's like a medication for seizures. And I took that for the entire the remaining of the year of 2009, 2010, and 2011. I started to lose a lot of weight too, and I feel like this was that phase of being misdiagnosed. I did not have the experience of someone sitting me down and saying, hey, you have Chiari Malformation. I recall reading it in my documentation years later when I was treated for it. So I was advised that I was having baby strokes in the eye. So from 2009 on until this present day, 2020, I have issues with my vision. It's time when my vision goes completely out, and it's like that for weeks, months, and sometimes it'll come back to where I can only see like just the silhouette. I have not been able to clearly see out of my right eye. I've been through many tests, and of course, as you stick with me through this journey, you will see where there were other health issues that were realized through an eye exam that saved my life pretty much. But in 2009, I also, due to me being out from so many doctor's appointments and procedures being done and them putting me on FMLA, I ended up losing my job. So I was out of work from 2009 to 2012. And during those times is when I had to really like fight. I started to try to like push off how I was feeling, what I was going through, to, you know, just to adjust to this new way of life that I was introduced to. It's weird, it's uncomfortable, it's no advance notice when something was going to happen. So what I did not stop driving. I did not stop functioning. I continued to press through and adjust to my new norm. I realized, hey, Dawn, you're going to have to equip yourself and be prepared that at any given moment, your eyesight could go out while you're driving. So you're going to have to like overcompensate to be prepared. So I would, you know, right now, if, like I said earlier, if you cover your eye and try to maneuver, there's extra moves that I had to do. Like, I just can't look to my right and use my peripheral vision to see. I have to actually turn my head all the way to the right in order for my left eye to pick up what's in that sight tunnel for me to see. So I had to overcompensate in that way. One thing I did do that I am proud of myself for doing, I didn't allow me losing my sight to, I guess, shut me down or break me down. I stayed active, I stayed socializing, I stayed doing things because that was the only thing that was occurring at that moment in my life. I will say this, at the time, I knew who God was. And I knew how faithful he had been. Yes, I was praying that he would help me with my sight, but my faith was not as strong as it is today. That took a course of growing and learning and just really opening up to deal with the things that were the issues that was on the inside. I had to go through some years of healing and years of letting go of some things. And in other videos, I will discuss with you and break those things down with you to tell you how that experience, my healing experience was, because it didn't come till much later. So right now, I'm at a place in my life to where I'm just really grateful to God for how far he has brought me. When all of this very first began, I'm not that same woman that I was in 2009. So much has occurred and changed since then. And I'm grateful to God for like giving me the strength, but not knowing I had the strength, if that make any sense to you. In analyzing myself, like every day at night, I try to check out, and the way I check out, I analyze myself like, Dawn, did you give yourself 100% today in everything that needed to be done? And if you didn't, what can you do to do better for tomorrow? And I didn't learn that key thing. I didn't learn that until 2017. So now going back looking back to when everything started and analyzing myself and the growth, I now check out and I'm like, you know what, God, you had me strong back then, and I didn't even know how strong I was then and wasn't confident in my strength. In other words, if that makes sense to me saying that, I wasn't confident at all in the strength that God had given me. I had no idea I had it and was capable of using it to the magnitude that I'm using it now. So, was it scary? Yes. I'm going to say it was very scary because I had, like I said before, no indications that something was about to occur. It was nothing forewarning me, oh, your eyesight about to go out, be prepared. So it was like I had this constant, and I'm going to be real transparent, fear that not only will my eyesight go out in my right eye, that it would also happen in my left eye. And it was times that I finally embraced, this is where I am done and it's really dangerous for what you're doing. Get help. Like, I had to, on several occasions, call my sister or my mom and say, hey, even my dad, because he was alive during the time, I'm stuck on the side of the road. My eyesight went out again. Or I'll come back home and tell them, oh, y'all, I had to stop today and sit on the side of the road for like 45 minutes before my eyesight came back. I was too scared to drive because it was other things happening in nature. Like, it was either raining or it was bad traffic or my stress levels was too high or whatever. You know, back then I didn't know enough to even advocate for myself, to know how to handle my body when my body did weird things. So it was interesting. I'm I'm happy for the growth that I experienced. At the same time, I sometimes wish you would have had that strong done that you got today back then, because I think I would have did a few things differently. But we all go through our journeys, and how we go through them, it's all part of the process of growing and becoming who we are. So that's somewhat the ending of my first encounter, hearing and reading about Chiari, having no clue what it was and what was needed, but it was very interesting. But here I am closing out the decorative part of my planning, and I like to there's a saying that I love to say. People don't understand why I do it, but it's me. This is why, though. I always like to say, in everything, find God's love always moving. It's always evident. It's always apparent. Like, you can see it in everything. It's like the simplest things in life mean something to me now. They didn't before. I used to ignore them. And I'm just being frank and open with you. I didn't pay attention to the simple things in life. I took them for granted. So now, after going through this journey here in 2020, and I started this back in 2018, I was in the doctor's office with my mom, and we received bad news that day. I was told I was going to have another surgery. And I had told my mom, I was like, Mom, you know what? In everything, I have to always find God's love always moving. So if you look at some of my other videos from 2 years ago, us in the doctor's office, I'll leave out saying, talk to y'all later, glam fam. And glam is G for God, God's, L for love, A for always, and for moving. And that's why I refer to you all as my glam fam, because I feel like even in the audience, there is God's love always moving, even in you. So this is the close out of me planning. And well, thanks for watching me plan and listen to this little bit of the story time. It's so much more to come, because it's a lot to this journey and story. But I want to close out by giving you guys some words of encouragement. I was talking with a good friend She's like a daughter to me. Her name is Dion. Dion, you know who you are. Hey, Dee Dee. But we was having a great conversation, and I was reminding her of my vision journal where I literally would write out affirmations to myself. And I found this one that I feel is so suited for ending out this video. So as you all know, this journey, the way it began for me hearing Chiari was a little bit of a worry for me and fearful for me, but it brought me to this affirmation that I wrote in my affirmation journal, and it reads, difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. There's going to be some very painful moments in our lives that will alter our world. These moments can and will change you, but let them make you stronger, wiser, kinder. Do not become someone you are not. Release however way you need to. Scream if you have to. Cry if you have to. But then you straighten out that crown, king or queen, and you keep going and make sure you smile. Make sure you keep smiling. So I want to encourage you all today that at whatever phase of your journey that you are in, you don't hide behind a facade. Don't become somebody you're not, and allow yourself to embrace the process and just be who God has made you to be, and continue smiling through your journey. You will find it may not be real present to you at the time, but trust me, you will find out later how strong He is making you through this journey. So I encourage you all, y'all have a great day, evening, night. Not sure what time it will be when you view this video. And most importantly, now that y'all know why I call y'all my glam fam, is God love always moving in me, and is God love always moving in you. So I want you to do one thing for me, and that's what? Keep smiling. Till next time.